Well, hello there, welcome back to another video, another trading card video. I was gonna do this video in person, but I always forget to bring the proper stuff. Like I forgot to bring USB cord or the mic stand. So instead of doing this one in person, I'm just gonna do it on TCG live again. And honestly, it might be better to do it this way anyways. But the deck I'm showing today is a Iron Valiant deck. Now the thing is, most of the decks that I've shown so far on this channel have been kind of garbage. Like, it's more of me showcasing the idea of a deck rather than the deck itself. Because I think there are some very interesting ideas that, are yet to be explored, or people don't explore them enough. That being said, this deck is actually, again, something that has kind of been explored already, but it's my version. I always try to make my own deck list when it comes to these videos. And this deck is actually not bad. Like, it's actually not bad. This deck is, like, I've topped a few locals, which isn't impressive, to be honest. But, it's been undefeated. In terms of, going to locals, 5 games undefeated, which is the best any of my decks have done. Obviously, if I copy, someone else's deck, like a tier 1 deck, I can do well with that. But in terms of my own deck, this is, my own deck that has performed the best, and so I'm pretty proud of that. Again, not completely brand new idea. I did take inspiration off of a few deck lists, but in terms of the exact build and some certain cards that are being used, it's like my own, right? But the main point of this deck is Iron Valiant. I think Iron Valiant is a really cool card. Don't copy this deck list because I actually crafted the wrong I crafted the promo Iron Valiant, and so I'll have a good deck list in the description that uses the normal version. But Iron Valiant is a strong card because every time it's sent from the bench to the active, so when you're switching this Pokemon from the bench to the active, Tachyon Bit's ability does you put 2 damage counters on any of your opponent's Pokemon, which is pretty strong. And then Laser Blade doing 200 damage, and this Pokemon can't attack next turn. That's pretty relevant. So this is kind of the main focus of the deck. This is kind of what I named the deck after, but this card is not the star of the show. I think the star of the show is Miraidon here. This card, a lot of people who when I'm playing locals, a lot of people are getting into Pokemon for the first time, and they buy these pre-built deck lists or these pre-built decks. And one of these pre-built decks is Iron Valiant deck. Funny enough, where this deck came from, and that deck has this Miraidon, and this Miraidon, non-EX, is so flippin' good. From Temporal Forces, Peak Acceleration for 1 colorless energy, it does 40 damage, and then you put 2 basic energies from your deck onto your future Pokemon in any way you like. That's so good. This card is the energy ramp of this deck. I've been saying this for a while, but we're currently, in my opinion, in the energy ramp meta. The best decks are able to energy ramp. Nowadays, a few really good decks don't energy ramp. Dragapult, I think, is a classic example. Something that doesn't energy ramp, but it still runs perhaps Crispins, perhaps Sparkling Crystals. So there's still a little bit of energy ramp. But anyway, again, in the energy ramp meta, this card is able to let you get 2 energies on your future Pokemon any way you like. Of course, there will be an energy attached to this Pokemon, so you're going to be sticking on this Pokemon. But it's just so good. This card is going to be the key card in a lot of matchups. This deck has a good matchup against lots of different decks simply because you're running this Miraidon. It's a non-EX Pokemon, and so you're able to hit Mimikyus and Sylveons, right? Because those Pokemon cannot be damaged by EXs or... those Pokemon cannot be damaged by EXs or Vs, right? So I want to actually show some of these Pokemon as well, just because I feel sometimes I talk about certain things, but then I don't show it, so it's a little bit confusing. It also has a good matchup against Cornerstone. So because your Pokemon have abilities, your Iron Valiant has ability, it's good to have a Pokemon that can kind of go over Pokemon like Cornerstone. And then I run some other Pokemon. Iron Crown, this is going to be where a lot of your damage is going to come from. Iron Crown stacks when it's on your bench, and so if you have in this deck, you kind of want to have at least 2. 3 is a little bit greedy on your bench, but normally I would have 2. That's why I'm only running 3 copies of this card, because I only really need, or I really want 3. But that makes it so that your Miraidons do more damage. Peak acceleration already does 40, but if you have Iron Crowns on your bench, it can hit up to like 60, 80, 100. And then you also run a tool, the Future Booster Energy Capsule, which makes your retreat cost free and makes you do 2 extra damage, or 20 more extra damage. So your Miraidon could be hitting for a lot. If you have all your Iron Crowns and Future Energy Capsule out, it does 120, which is enough to one-shot the Sylveon, right? And then also it boosts your Iron Valiant damage. Iron Valiant only does 200 damage, which might not sound a lot in this meta, where a lot of Pokemon are like 260, 270, 280. You know, Dragapult is 320, right? So that's a lot more HP than your Laser Blade. But think about it, your Laser Blade does stack with Iron Crowns, and so if you have 2 Iron Crowns, that's 240. But then if you have the Booster Capsule, well, it's going to do 260, right? But also when you switch up, you do 2 damage counters. And so if you stack it on the Pokemon that you're about to attack, that's 280. And then if you have 3 Iron Crowns, you have the Energy Capsule, you put 2 damage counters on the active Pokemon, it's doing 300 damage. And then if you have if you have Gravity Mountain, which lowers the HP of all Stage 2 Pokemon, well then at this point you're basically one-shotting any Pokemon unless it has like Bravery Charm, unless there's Buffalons, you know, to boost the HP of some of these Pokemon. So it can stack up a lot of damage. We're using Iron Valiant here because of the Tachyon bits. You can put 2 damage counters anywhere. So if you are about to overkill a Pokemon, you can always put the 2 damage counters on another Pokemon. Perhaps like a basic like 60 HP Pokemon, or maybe another EX Pokemon that you're planning on knocking out. There is also, you know, the Iron Valiant isn't the strongest future move, actually. The strongest future move is actually going to come from your Miraidon and Iron Boulder. We don't really talk about Iron Boulder because Iron Boulder is just... Yeah, Iron Boulder does do... Oh, it only does 200 damage. Never mind. Miraidon. Okay. Yeah, your strongest future move is technically going to be from Miraidon EX. It has the same HP as Iron Valiant. Cyber Drive does 220. And so basically, Iron Valiant, when it sends to the active spot, it does 20 damage. Again, if it's kept on the active, then you're not going to do the extra 20 damage. But your strongest future move is Cyber Drive, which, I mean, 220 base, it can stack up if you put Iron Crown in the Future Energy Booster. And it also has the same effect of this Pokemon can't attack next turn. But I just like the flexibility of Iron Valiant and being able to put 20 damage counter, or 2 damage counters anywhere, as opposed to this Miraidon EX where you know, you're forced to have that damage counter on, you know, or you're forced to do the damage on the active Pokemon. That being said, though, its second move is pretty strong too, but yeah, we're opting for the Iron Valiant for more of the flexibility and also for the Tachyon bits kind of switching out in and out. And then I also run 1 Iron Thorns. I think normally people don't run this card, but I just run it just because sometimes it's good to just put it in your active spot to shut down your opponent's perhaps Squawkabilly if you're going first, or, you know, to shut down like just a lot of Pokemon abilities like Pidgeot EX's Quick Search, right? Maybe Goldengos, stuff like that. I run one of this card. You can cut out, but I just like 1 Iron Thorn. Fezandipiti, I'm running this as opposed to Mew simply because you run a lot of dead cards in this deck. You run like a lot of switches, a lot of these energy capsules. So you might end up with a lot of cards in your hand. So Mew EX isn't, you know, that strong in this deck in my opinion. That being said, though, you still do want to run an EX that gives you draw power, and so Fezandipiti is that EX that gives you draw power. Because you're running Miraidons and Miraidon is on the active a lot and your opponent knocks out a lot, it's only a 1 prizer, which means that you might get a lot of Fezandipiti value. And Fezandipiti is like your main draw power in the deck, sadly. You need to have this card out. It's very important. Basically, if you're not getting Fezandipiti out, it's going to be very hard for you to kind of win the game. This is where a lot of your draw power is going to come from. And the Bloodmoon Ursaluna is your finisher. You have Because this deck runs so many switches, it runs a lot of switches. It runs these energy capsules so that your active Pokemon can switch out. You're running, your Prime Catcher, your Pennies, your Jet Energies. There's a lot of manipulation of moving Pokemon around. And so that makes Bloodmoon Ursaluna really good. I feel like any deck that runs like Jet Energies, Prime Catchers, Bloodmoon Ursaluna, all of a sudden becomes very strong. Notice the damage from this Pokemon isn't going to increase. So this is a really good finisher. Indeed. So that's the Pokemon count. Since Miraidon's the most important Pokemon, I'm running 4 of it. That can be cut down to 3, but you just really want this Pokemon in the start. That being said, you do run switches, you do run energy capsules, and jet energies. So it's not important to always start off with it because you can always kind of put it to the active spot. For supporters, I am running 4 Arvins. The Arvins are important to search for your energy capsules, but also to search for your Techno Radar. Future decks are really strong because they can run Techno Radar. Basically, you discard a card, you search for 2 future Pokemon. The thing is, this deck does have very limited resources, so you have to keep in mind what you're going to discarding, because a lot of times I've discarded a card that would have been useful later on in the game. And so the discarding part of this card is very important. You don't want to discard the wrong card, but you can search for 2 future Pokemon, basically getting yourself set up with your Iron Crowns, your Iron Valiants, and of course your Iron Thorn if you need it. And your 4 Nest Balls. Some future decks run 3 Nest Balls because you are running the Techno Radar. I find running 4 Nest Balls makes it easier for me to get my Fezandipiti. Again, Fezandipiti is like one of the main draw powers of this deck. You really need this card out, and that's why I run 4 Nest Balls, just for the Fezandipiti. Other supporters, I'm running 3 Professor Researches. Again, just more draw power. This deck does kind of, a lot of times you just run out of steam. Miraidon is really good at giving yourself steam because you can attach energies to your bench Pokemon. That's really strong. That means you don't really need to draw a lot. But the Professor Research there is to facilitate the drawing. 2 Ionos and 2 Boss's Orders. Those are always needed. Boss's Orders just so that you can bring out your opponent's big Pokemon so you can knock it out with Iron Valiant. Iono, essentially for disruption. Of course, it can grant new cards, but you're mainly playing this card to disrupt your opponent, in my opinion. 1 Penny. 2 pennies is too much, but 1 penny is very strong. Basically, you can just send up a basic Pokemon, which is all your Pokemon. You can just send up. That could be really good in healing your basic Pokemons, or perhaps you want to, you don't want that Pokemon in the active spot anymore, so you penny up your active Pokemon so that you can move an Iron Valiant to use Tachyon Bit ability. It can also bring up your energies. You can bring up a Jet Energy. You can bring up your basic energies to rearrange them. It's just really strong. I find having 2 is too bricky, but 1 is a must. I mean, sometimes when you play this card, this is your power card here. Don't run too many of it. I also am running 1 Earthen Vessels. Sometimes you might not have energies in your hand, and so you are running 4 the Earthen Vessels. Hope that your Earthen Vessel isn't priced, and but most of the time your Earthen Vessel is you're getting it with Arvin because you need energies to kind of start off your Miraidon or to fully power up your Iron Valiant. Because Miraidon only gives 2 energies, so Iron Valiant is going to have 2 energies attached to it from Miraidon's attack. So you're still going to need 1 more energy to make the Miraidon fully powered up. That's not what I wanted to do. And what else do we run? We're running 4 switches. This is so that we can use the Tachyon bits, right? If you have 2 Iron Valiants on your bench, you can retreat to trigger one of the Tachyon bits, and then you can switch the other one up to trigger another set of bits and then attack. And so we run 4 switches because of that. Also, your Pokemon just have high retreat costs. Future Pokemon just generally have high retreat costs. And so you're running the switches so that your opponent can't lock you out with Boss's Orders and stuff like that. Of course, 4 energy capsules, future booster energy capsules. These you can search with Arvin, and they make it so that your Pokemon do more damage and that they can retreat for free. Oftentimes, these cards, you might just end up with too many of them. A lot of people always like putting their tools on their Pokemons. I feel like that's most of the time a good thing. But when it comes to this, sometimes it might not be the best to always put them on your Pokemon, because sometimes you want to, put the 20 damage on a certain Pokemon that you're going to be attacking with, or you want to retreat depending on what your opponent does. Like if your opponent bosses order one of your Iron Crowns, then you can go ahead and put this on your Iron Crown to retreat it. So if you play it on like a different Iron Crown, then you know, like their opponent would just boss order the one that doesn't have the tool attached to it. And so I find myself holding these a lot, and a lot of times this card ends up being the card that gets discarded with Tachyon Radar, especially since I'm searching with Arven. I'm running 4 of those. And then I run the Town Store as a stadium, again, to search for my energy capsules. And of course, you need stadiums to knock out your opponent's neutralization zones. That being said, though, this deck does play really well against neutralization zone because of the Miraidon. Nevertheless, you still want to get rid of your opponent's Area 0 underdepths, and maybe you want to get rid of your opponent's jamming towers, right? Stuff like that. Again, Gravity Mountain here is to help you knock down, essentially, Dragapult. Yeah, basically just Dragapult in the meta right now. I also am running, I think I talked about most stuff. The Prime Catcher, again, more switching potential. Again, this can trigger Tachyon bits, but not only that, but it's just a strong thing to get your opponent's, you know, get the right Pokemon out so that you can knock them out. You know, good at sniping those Fezandipitis, those Squawkabillies, those Mews, right? All that stuff. And then I run 2 Night Stretchers and 1 Energy Switch. The Night Stretchers is because you run a limited amount of basic energies, the Night Stretchers can help you get them back after Iron Valiants get knocked out. Those don't really have that much HP. Or if you need one of your Iron Crown gets knocked out or your Fezandipiti gets knocked out, then you can Night Stretcher them back just to use their abilities. And then the Energy Switch is again like a tech card in my opinion. Tech as in like I put it in as like something that not a lot of people probably use, but just in case you mess up your Miraidon's peak acceleration, or let's say you attach a basic energy to your Miraidon and it doesn't get knocked out, then maybe you can not jet energy, but you can like future energy capsule on the Miraidon, retreat it for the Iron Valiant, and then use Energy Switch on the Miraidon's energy to Iron Valiant, as long as it isn't a jet energy. And that way you can fully power up your Iron Valiant without needing to attach another energy. And so it's just there to like move energies if you need it. And I find, you know, sometimes it could be really useful. And again, it's a one-of, something that can be searched with Arven. But it's not going to really brick your hand because only one of them. I think I talked about all those. I'm running 4 jet energies. Again, this is good with your Iron Valiants, your Miraidons, your Bloodmoon Ursaluna, just to bring them out really quick. I run 7 psychic energies. Honestly, 7 doesn't feel like enough because sometimes you go through a lot of them, especially if you're attacking aggressively with Miraidon. But you need a good amount of energy so that you start off with an energy so that you can start attacking immediately. This deck is a go second deck, as in you want to always go second so that you can attack with Miraidon. That's basically the game plan, is turn 1, go second. If your turn 1, you're going second, that means that your turn 1, you attack with Miraidon, turn 2, you're attacking with Iron Valiant. Very, very aggressive is what you want. And so you need enough energies to at least draw and have energies in your hand to start off that attack. And I run 1 lightning energy just for the Iron Thorns Volt Cyclone. You might need to use that against perhaps like a Pidgeot EX. But yeah, you just run 1 of the lightning energy. Sometimes the lightning energy might get prized. In that case, unlucky really. And then that's the deck. And so again, the main game plan is, because Miraidon is the star of the show, you have Miraidon out. Miraidon could be doing a lot of damage turn 2. Your first turn, if you're going second, turn 2, it could be doing a lot of damage, especially if your opponent is playing a lot of basic small Pokemon. But if you're playing like bigger basic EXs, then your Iron Valiant can, take care of those really easily turn 2. This deck, again, is pretty good against a lot of matchups, but it does struggle against certain Pokemon. Trapagos hard counters this deck. If Trapagos is able to use Crown Opal, you literally cannot damage your opponent unless you have like Bloodmoon Ursaluna built. But Trapagos is like basically untouchable, especially if you're also running the Buffaloes and Bravery Charms to make the Trapagos kind of tankier. So that could be a really tough matchup. Basically, you're just losing. You're hoping that you can boss order other Pokemon for game, because yeah, Trapagos is a tough matchup. Also, because you put a lot of bits on board, Munkidori becomes your bits, because you're doing a lot of chip damage. there's a lot of damage counters that your opponent has on their Pokemon. So if they run a Moonkidori, they're able to, you know, basically put the bits on your Pokemon. And so it's kind of like, it kind of hard counters the Tachyon bits on the Iron Valiant. So Moonkidori is also a pretty tough card to play up against. Thankfully your Miraidon is able to one-shot it if you have like 3 Iron Crowns. But like this is a tough Pokemon to deal with as well. And of course you still have Pokemon like Noivern, I think. Noivern's Covert Flight during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done by basic Pokemon. So again, this kind of hard counters Miraidon if you are if you're playing against a Noivern. Basically, you just have to hope that you can knock out their Noibats before they can set up their Noiverns. And of course, Farafrig has a similar thing. It cannot be damaged by basic EX Pokemon. So your Iron Valiant can't attack this Pokemon. That being said, though, your Iron Valiant can still put bits on it, and your Miraidon can still attack it normally. And so those are just a few cards that are kind of tough against it. But yeah, this deck again is the best deck I've created so far. Is the game gonna glitch out? I hate TCG Live. Why is TCG Live so bad? Why does it like not work? It just simply doesn't work sometimes. Now I gotta edit this video because TCG Live doesn't want to work. Alright, give me one moment while I try to fix. Alright, TCG Live, fix your flipping game. Again, I'm not using my normal microphone. I'm using the internal microphone of my laptop. So if the audio sounds pretty awful, it's because of that. But I just wanted to test it out simply because I noticed that the internal microphone of my laptop actually doesn't sound that bad. So this video, I'm kind of giving it a shot here. We want to go second, so we're letting our opponent go first here. Again, this is just so that we can attack with Miraidon. Like I said, this deck does struggle a lot with power. And so a lot of times you kind of... Ooh, I already misplayed. I probably should have put Iron Thorns first, just in case they had like Sword Ability, and then switch it out with the Future Energy Capsule. But that's okay. That's no big deal. No big deal there. Yeah, as you notice in my hand, just look at my hand. Like, I have an Arven, but that's it. I don't really have any other, like, searching power. And so this is not the best of hands. But I do have, you know, the basic energy, the Iron Crown. I see that my opponent's playing Totodile, so their Totodiles are just going to get absolutely dunked on because my Miraidon can just eat it up. As long as I have, like, you know, 20 extra or 40 extra damage here, which I will have with this Iron Crown. We're going to use Arven here. Arven is going to search us a Tachyon Radar and another booster. Like I mentioned before, sometimes you end up with a lot of boosters in your hand. I'm going to Tachyon Radar this Iron Thorns. This Iron Thorn isn't going to be useful to us because they're not going to play a lot of EXs. Because Iron Thorn only affects your opponent's rule box like EX Pokemon. And so we have... the stuff. Our peak acceleration already does 80 damage to knock out the Totodile, so we're going to save the Future Energy Capsule like I mentioned. Peak acceleration on the Totodile, and then the 2 energies are going to be going on Iron Valiant here. As you see, next turn, I don't actually have anything here. Like, maybe I should have searched for a... oh, that's only one prize card because of the Totodile. Oh, Professor Research. Perfect. So now, what I can do... I can use Professor Research next turn. But there's an argument, because I already had 2 energy capsules in hand, maybe I should have not searched one with Arven. But that would have been suspicious for my opponent, so I probably didn't want to do that. But that's just something to think about, is that maybe you don't want to search with them with Arven if you have a bunch in hand already. They're going to play Mimikyu, and again, Mimikyu is terrible against my deck because Miraidon eats Mimikyus for breakfast. Bidoof, again, because we run Energy Rant with Miraidon, because we run the Jet, while we do have switches, and we have the Energy Capsules, we have the Jet Energies, so that goes around Bidoof, right? So we don't need those switches for Bidoof. So Bidoof doesn't really do much. And I'm already set up, like I already got my Tachyon Radar kind of used up. And so we can, yeah. They're playing Moonkidori. Moonkidori attached to energy. Like, it's so ogre. It's so ogre for my opponent. Like, they really can't do much. I'm just going to go ahead and put all the future energy capsules on my Pokemon. They play Counter Catcher, so maybe I'll put it on the other Iron Crown here. And then we're just going to Professor Research. We get goodies in our hand. We don't want them to Artazone, so we're just going to Gravity Mountain, get rid of the Artazone. Maybe I could have gotten a Miraidon out, but I have Techno Radar to search for next turn. We're going to retreat. We're going to play this. We're going to put some bits. Where are these bits going, guys? Wait, do I even have energies in hand? I may have already misplayed. I do not have energy in hand. Okay, so I already kind of misplayed. Because my... Oh, I should have switched to the Miraidon. That's okay. We're going to put the bits on Bidoof here. I shouldn't have done that either. Yeah, I misplayed because I didn't get an energy in hand. So I probably should have switched out to Miraidon and attack. That's okay. They only have 3 cards in hand, and so I'm not too worried. Yeah, I'm just going to Counter Catcher. Let's get their Totodile out, because if they don't get their Totodiles out, they can't really do damage. We're going to get a Miraidon out. Again, not optimal. I kind of misplayed that. I probably should have Techno Radared and gotten another Iron Valiant here. I'm only going to attach 1 energy, just so we don't want to greed too much. Right? I think greeding too much would be bad. And yeah, so I misplayed there. What I should have done was I should have switched my Iron Crown to Miraidon, but that's okay. They're going to be moving these bits to my Miraidon, or to any Pokemon, but that's fine, because at the end of the day, it's, you know, it doesn't really hurt us that much. They got Iono. Iono's pretty good here, because they get a fresh hand, essentially. I only get 4 cards. That being said, though, most of these cards aren't good. I mean, the boss order, it hurts losing the boss's order, but that's okay. Yeah, we're going to Iono here. If we get like a Professor's Research here or something, it would be pretty good. Nest Balls that we're not going to be able to use, but that's okay. We got a Jet Energy here, which is good, because if they... I mean, they can't really Counter Catch anything, because everything can retreat. But if they do some shenanigans, like Jamming Towers, for example, we can always Jet Energy one of these Pokemon up. This deck runs Luxurious Cape, and so they're probably not going to have, Luxurious Cape, so they're probably not going to use any Jamming Towers. But it's pretty cooked. My opponent is in a rough position. I mean, Buddy Poppin's good. At this point, they need to build up their Feraligators. Oh, they have my Milotic as well. Yeah, my Milotic is bad against my deck because I don't run any Terra Pokemon. Sleep is pretty strong, but that being said, though, I can one-shot on my Milotic pretty easy. They're going to Counter Catcher something, which, again, isn't really helpful. Oh, I guess they're going to Counter Catcher the Iron Valiant so that I don't do bits, but they can always move the bits, so it's not really, they can move the bits here. At this point, it's like, do I want to attack with Iron Valiant? I think I should just leave it up. No, I probably want to retreat it for the Miraidon. Just in case they evolve a Feraligatr, I want to be able to knock out the Feraligatr with the Iron Valiant. So we're going to go ahead and do that here. I'm going to retreat this for this. And then, do I want to set up another Miraidon? Sure, I think I'll set up another Miraidon. Just in case something happens, I have it on my bench. I can always, Jet Energy it up. I am not going to put any more energies. Again, energies are kind of a scarce resource. Like, having 3 energies on an Iron Valiant, or 3 Psychic energies on an Iron Valiant, doesn't even feel good. Because if I use a Jet Energy on an Iron Valiant, it kind of feels wasted. Essentially here. So yeah, again, this deck just has a really good matchup against what my opponent's playing. They're going to Milotic here. Again, Iron Valiant will eat up that Milotic pretty easily. Because, it does 200 plus the tool, so it's 220, 240, 260, plus the bits 280. So it basically, if I put up this Iron Valiant, it one-shots the Milotic. Pretty simple there. Are they going to use Mind Bend? Mind Bend would go pretty crazy here, because it would confuse me. But that means that that's their energy for their turn. And so, it's a tough commitment there. And we have Switch. So what I'm going to do here is, like, do I want to attack with the Iron Valiant? No, again, I want to save it. Just because, let's say I knock this Pokemon out with the Iron Valiant. Well, if they power up their Milotic, which I don't think they could, but if they power up their Milotic, then their Milotic can attack the Iron Valiant, and then all of a sudden I can't knock out the Milotic. So we're going to Jet Energy this Miraidon to bring it up. Just so we can bypass the confusion. Oh, my Peak Acceleration doesn't do enough damage. Oh, for some reason I thought my Peak Acceleration did enough damage. Okay, that's fine. Again, misplayed there. I should have just did that. Okay, we're gonna put these bits on the Milotic, I think, just in case. Yeah, that was a misplay there. I should have. First off, I should have another Iron Valiant that I've been building, but I don't. That's something that I'm pretty bad at this deck, is sometimes I forget that I should be building a Milotic here. Or not Milotic, but I should be building another Iron Valiant. Because now this Milotic has a potential of attacking, because I can't really knock it out next turn. We're going to use their Croconaw here. If they can evolve this into a Feraligatr and they have a reversal energy, they can actually start doing damage on me, which would be pretty rough. Again, I already misplayed twice this game. Actually, maybe 3 times. Maybe I should have been building up another Iron Valiant here. So there's a few things that, potentially you might consider a misplay. Again, boss order is useless there because I have a free retreat. I'm just going to retreat into one of these Miraidons, right? So it's not a big deal. Wow, why did that only do 30? Oh, why did that move only do 30? Am I resisted? Wait, it did 10. Oh, they didn't want to switch the Pokemon out, that's why. Okay. Simply, we're going to just retreat this. Why can't I retreat it? Oh, is it their move? I can't retreat? Oh, the Pokemon can't retreat. That's interesting. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to Jet Energy this Pokemon up. Alright, I didn't know that I'd do that. And we're going to go ahead and use Peak Acceleration. That doesn't knock it out. Oh, I'm trolling. Arguably, I could have Nest Balled a Iron Crown. I would have knocked it out. Oh my gosh, dude. The timer is getting to me. The timer is scaring me. That's okay. That's okay. I'm fine with this. Again, my opponent still is in a rough position. My Iron Valiant can now start attacking. So, yeah, as you see here, that's why running the 4 Jet Energies, the 4 switches is so nice. Because your opponent might think that they can kind of lock you out. Sobs from Ogerpons, like the Crystal Ogerpon, the Water Ogerpon. And stuff like this Totodile. They think that, oh, maybe I can lock them out, but it's really hard. They're gonna get the Munkidori out, so this Munkidori could knock out this Miraidon, and they're gonna get a prize card from that. So basically, they get an extra card. They heal some damage. They're not gonna knock out. Interesting. I thought they would have knocked out this. Maybe they're afraid of Fezandipiti value. They're gonna summon out that Milotic. That's fine. Techno Radar. Okay. It's kind of too late for the Techno Radar. We're gonna retreat. We put 2 Jet Energies on this Pokemon, so we are free to retreat it. We're gonna put the Iron Valiant out. The Iron Valiant is doing 260 damage, and so let's put these damage counters on. Let's do the Croconaw, sure. And anything else we want to do? I don't think so. Do we want to charge an energy for turn? I don't think so. We're gonna Laser Blade for knockout. And, oh, that's game. I mean, what am I even talking about? That's game. Yeah, my opponent misplayed by bringing up that Milotic. Oh, Fezandipiti was prize. See, even if it was, they knocked out my Pokemon, then I could have just Nest Balled. I couldn't have Nest Balled the Fezandipiti. But yeah, as you see there, that was a very low, supporter game. I didn't play a lot of supporters. I didn't have a lot of draw power, but simply because the Miraidons are so strong, I was able to kind of prevent my opponent from doing anything all game, essentially. I mean, I misplayed a bunch too. I should have built up another Iron Valiant. I messed up on the switches, the Jet Energies. It was a little bit awkward. So it's always important to know how much damage you're doing. Your Miraidon are doing this amount of damage. Is that enough to knock out my opponent's Pokemon? If yes, bring out the Miraidon. If not, bring out the Iron Valiant. I get to choose how it goes first or second. Again, this deck always goes second. Going first isn't bad. Again, you might want to set up the Iron Thorns, but going second is optimal here. I'm gonna bring up let's bring up the Iron Valiant and the Iron Crown here. Sure, why not? let my opponent know when I'm playing, I suppose. Since I'm going second, I'm not going to be affected by Bidoof the following turn. So what I can do is I can, yeah, it's kind of awkward because I probably should have done Iron Crown, because if I used Switch and Jet Energy, I could have done extra 20 damage. Not a big deal, it's only 20 damage, and I mean, who knows? They're playing Bidoof, so maybe they're also playing Munkidori. A lot of decks like to run those control cards. They're playing Teal'c's Ogerpon, which is interesting. Slowpoke. Okay, so running a Slowking. Slowking can be very fun. Energy on the Slowpoke. But yeah, this Bidoof, we're going to eat it for breakfast here. Again, unless they switch out to Teal'c's Ogerpon, which would be very interesting. That means that I can't one-shot their active Pokemon. If they're not going to do that, then yeah, we're going to eat this Bidoof for breakfast here. Alright, yep. Earthen Vessels. They're going to Earthen Vessels here. Yeah, they're probably going to search for Grass Energy so that they can start Teal Dance. They can start using Teal Dance. Not bad. Get an extra card in your hand. Get another energy on board. Potentially, they can attack with Ogerpon next turn if they attach another energy to it and then use Teal Dance next turn. So potentially getting an attack with Ogerpon out that turn, which would knock out the Miraidon. We drew into a Miraidon, so let's go ahead and go greedy for the Iron Crown for extra damage. We're just going to play the Miraidon. We're going to Jet Energy it up so that we don't waste any Jet Energies. Then we're going to go ahead and Professor Research. Don't want to play Switch, because if we play Switch, we die. Again, having the feature Energy Capsule, I want to keep it just in case they do something funny next turn. I don't need Earthen Vessels this turn. I'm afraid of them Bidooing next turn. If they Bidoof next turn, then so be it. I can always just Peak Acceleration again. I'm okay with this. Let's go ahead and use Peak Acceleration, knock out the Bidoof, put some energies on the Iron Valiant here. And then we draw our card. They do have another Grass Energy, so they will be able to Teal Dance at least once next turn. But after that, they only have 3 other cards to play with. I guess the card that they draw with the Teal Dance. So they will have 4 different cards to board, 4 cards to play around with besides that Grass Energy. They're putting up the Slowbro. They must be pretty confident that they can attack with Slowking. Otherwise, you would probably want to do like the non-energy Slowpoke instead of the energized Slowpoke. Arvin is really strong. They can now search for whatever tool or item they want. So maybe Evolution seems a little bit too late at this point. Like Rescue Board might be good. For items, I'm not sure what items they want. Next turn, we can always Boss's Order this Ogerpon if we want to knock it out. Or if they use Ogerpon to knock my Pokemon out. What did they get? They got, what's the log? Oh, they got Nest Ball with the Arvin and a counter gain. So both of those they can take advantage of. Okay, with the Fezandipiti, they have a lot of new cards. We know one of them is a Grass Energy. We know one of them is the counter gain. So basically just 5 Pokemon. Or 5 cards that we don't know. Again, boss orders, we can always boss order Fezandipiti. Not always the best play because they can always Night Stretcher the Fezandipiti. And decks that run like Slowpokes and Slowkings probably have, you know, Super Rods and stuff like that. They will be able to use Seek Inspiration. So if they have a Academy at Night and a really strong Pokemon in hand, they can go ahead and attack with Seek Inspiration here. They can't boss order, but they could Prime Catcher. So, but if they Prime Catcher, then they have to attack with probably Ogerpon, which wouldn't knock out the Iron Valiant if they had Counter Catcher. So we're gonna put the counter again. Okay, so the Slowking can attack now. Actually, I didn't think about that, but yeah, that works. They're gonna use Ultra Ball. So if they have Academy at Night, they can whatever this Pokemon is going to get value here. Let's see. Judging by how little cards they have in their hands, knocking out that Fezandipiti next turn would probably be the play. Simply because I don't want to give them more cards. if they get Professor Research, if they get Night Stretcher, so be it. Then the Ogerpon becomes a threat. Conkeldurr, okay. So is that Academy a Night? No, they have Counter Catcher. So why did they even search for the Conkeldurr now that they guarantee they don't have it on the top of their deck, or they guarantee they don't even have it in their deck? And so Seek Inspiration might not even do anything. I think, yeah, I thought they had Academy at Night. That's why they just scooped it up. Okay, yes, that was strange. All right, I've never seen that deck with Ogerpon. I think the theory behind Ogerpon is to Energy Switch onto the Slowking for Energy Ramp. But yeah, that wasn't very good. That wasn't very good. Let's see if this time I go first. Nope, I still go second. Perfect. A lot of the times your opponent wants to go first. Sometimes they want to go second if they are for example, a Raging Bolt deck. But yes. Let's see here. We have a pretty good start here again. Again, this deck is consistent enough that you kind of always get your Miraidon, Energy, and Iron Valiant out. That's basically the 3 cards you want. And of course you want your Miraidon to be able to attack, which is why you run the switches. This is why you run, stuff like that. They're using Clefairy. Unfortunately, Clefairy will make it so that my Miraidons are pretty easy to knock out. They're also running their Miraidons, a tandem unit Miraidon. It's not future, and so it doesn't work really well in this deck. Oh, it looks like they're running Joltik Box. I think that's what it's called. Joltik Box is pretty strong because you're able to put a bunch of energies all over the place. That being said, they are going first, and so I kind of griefed them. Let's go ahead and use Techno Radar here. We're going to discard a switch. I'm going to search for that guy and a... Honestly, Iron Thorns is pretty good in this matchup, guys. Iron Thorn is pretty good in this matchup. It does shut down a lot of their Pokemon. That being said, though, honestly, I think I might want to try it. I think I might want to try the Iron Thorns here. It might be greedy, but I don't really need the Iron Crown. So let's throw these guys up. Let's throw the energy on the Miraidon. Let's switch it up. Yes, I could have pennied, but I want to save the penny. Yeah, no supporter turn, but that's okay. That's okay. It's going to be hard for them to... Where do I want to put these energies? Do I want to build the Iron Thorns, guys? I think I want to build up the Iron Thorns. This might be crazy, but I'm going to build up the Iron Thorns here. The reason why I'm doing this is because I think Iron Thorns are strong against this person's deck. Let's say they attack with Clefairy. Well, Iron Thorns has a potential of eating this Clefairy up, right? Iron Thorns can also one-shot their Pikachu if I have enough Iron Crowns and Energy Capsule. So it's pretty strong. Oh, they're running Iron Hands. Now, Iron Hands is strong against my deck, technically, because Amp You Very Much can knock out my Miraidon, in which case they will get 2 prizes instead of 1. They're going to Crispin for a Grass Energy and a Psychic Energy. Okay, so if they attach both energies to Clefairy, this Iron Thorns is going to get some value here. If I get an energy next turn, that is. That's what they opt to do. So I need a few cards, though. I need another Iron Crown. I need Energy Capsule. Maybe 2 Iron Crowns. That's a little bit too much. But here we go. It's a true test of the Fezandipiti. I need to get good Fezandipiti value here. No, I actually don't need any Iron Crowns. I just need an energy to knock it to Clefairy. That's it. Okay, very good. And then next turn, they actually aren't able to use Tandem Unit. I'm not sure what other abilities they might have, but they can't use Fezandipiti next turn unless they box order me or counter catcher me. Energy Switch. Okay, that's useless, unfortunately. Fezandipiti. Oh my gosh, Fezandipiti doesn't get value because Iron Thorns. Alright, very bad. We're gonna have to keep on playing, though. We have to keep on playing. We have to penny the Iron Thorn up so that we get Fezandipiti value. Our Iron Valiant, we send them up. I guess we're gonna put 2 damage counters on Joltik. Sure, why not? We're gonna Fezandipiti value now. It's okay, guys. It's okay. Full Moon Rondo. How much damage does Full Moon Rondo do? It's gonna do 100. It's gonna do 180. Unless they have Area 0 Underdepths. Then it will one-shot the Iron Thorns. I think I'm gonna do it anyways. Yeah, we're gonna do this anyways. I kind of misplayed here. Next turn, I will have Miraidon out with the Arvin. Right, I could potentially get a Miraidon out. But that's kind of a mistake on my fault. That's kind of misplay on my part. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Now that's the reason why you guys don't run Iron Thorns with this deck, because then you don't get Divinity value. Oh, I'm cooked. I am cooked. They got their Arvin from their Poke Gear, which is pretty strong. That's probably what you want. At this point, yeah, my opponent can start building up a Pikachu. Would be pretty strong here. Pikachu isn't that scary against my deck because I can put bits on the Pikachu, make it so that it can be one shot. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. They drew Arvin, so I'm guessing they're gonna use Arvin. I don't know, because right now they really need board space. So right now they really need like an Area 0 Underdepths if they can get it. They're gonna decide to Boss's Order me. They're probably gonna Boss Order the Fezandipiti. Again, Boss's Order is okay because we run a lot of switch cards. We run a lot of switch cards, so Boss Order is okay. But it does complicate things because putting an Energy Capsule on Iron Thorns would have been the perfect play because I would have gotten it with Arvin no matter what, right? Let's see what we draw here. We got another Psychic Energy. Okay, our hand is filled with energies. We're going to get the Techno Radar. We're going to get the Future Energy Capsule here. Okay. What do we do? Can Miraidon one-shot this? No. It doesn't do enough. I should have put these bits on the Clefairy. If I put the bits on the Clefairy, then it could be one-shot with the Miraidon. That's okay. I was going to do Techno Radar. We're going to discard an energy here. And then we're going to get our Miraidon and our Iron Crown. And we're going to play both of them here. And we can't switch out the Fezandipiti, so we have to retreat it here. So I'm going to be discarding another energy which hurts. But we have to discard it here. For our, let's again go with Iron Crown. Now their Clefairy can one-shot anything I have on the bench. So their Clefairy all of a sudden is very powerful. Which is scary, but that's okay. Oh, now they got more board space, so they can tandem unit again. Not looking too good, guys. Not looking too good. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but it's not over. We got some damage on the Joltik. We have the Clefairy right where we want them. They're going to Arvin. So that means that no way that they're going to be able to Boss Order. They can't counter catcher. They can't counter catcher. They could search for a Prime Catcher. They didn't choose to search for a Prime Catcher. They're gonna Nest Ball. Okay, Nest Ball the Latios. That makes sense because they can't get that with Tandem Unit. What are they gonna summon? Are they gonna summon the Joltik? Are they gonna summon Joltik? I'm not sure what they want to do here. I'm kind of confused about what they're gonna do next. Okay, they're gonna knock out the Iron Thorns. Okay, that makes sense. If we get a Jet Energy next turn, guys, holy crap, we can make some plays. Let's get a Jet Energy, I suppose. You're down to 3 price. We're not looking too good here. Professor Research. Okay, I'm gonna put this here so that I always do enough damage. No, let's go ahead and use the flip the script first. I'm doing it before the Professor Research here. Boss's Order. Yeah, next turn they can Pikachu me. Huh. I mean, I can one-shot the Clefairy right now, but then they can Pikachu me. Okay, so I think I always do this. And I think I always do this. I do 100. So 120. It's gonna hurt to discard this boss's order, but I'm gonna discard it here. If we get... Oh, we didn't get a switch. Oh, no. I'm gonna say if we got a switch, we can do the bits on the Clefairy. Yeah, I attached the energy to now, so I can't jet energy. Okay. That's okay. If they have boss's orders, then they can knock out something big here. But yeah, I can't one-shot to Clefairy still. That's unfortunate. And I discarded my bosses. I could get Prime Catcher next turn, though. Yeah, let's do this. It only does 120, so it doesn't knock out the Clefairy. But let's just do Gravity Mountain. That means that they have to knock out one of their Pokemon, probably this Joltik. But if they knock out that Joltik, then it's one less energy. Maybe I should have kept that Joltik alive. But I'm probably going to bits the Clefairy. Oh, nope, they discarded the other Clefairy. Okay. This doesn't one-shot the Clefairy, but at this point, I'm just praying that they don't have any boss's order in hand. Two of these, again, those are the last ones in my deck, by the way, guys. I have 5 energies in my discard, so I'm running low on energies. I kind of need those Night Stretchers, or I kind of need to keep this Iron Valiant alive, which is going to be hard. Yeah, it's getting scary. At this point, it's like I just don't have any energies. I've kind of lost all of them. And I lost my energy switch too, so I can't really get this energy back. They could retreat for the Pikachu and they have the boss orders. Oh, they have Prime Catcher. Oh, no. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I mean, did I even get this Iron Valiant to attack? I didn't even feel like I was able to attack. Yeah, this was a really tough matchup simply because we just couldn't do, or I just couldn't do what I needed to do here. They only need 1 prize card left, which is pretty easy for them to get with the Clefairy. Let's go ahead and put the Future Energy Capsule Pokemon up so it can retreat, so I don't need to spend another Future Energy Capsule. Yeah, if they have Crispin and the right 2 energies, they can win next turn, essentially. But that doesn't mean we're out of the woods, or that doesn't mean that they're out of the woods yet. I think there's still a few more plays I can do. Let's go ahead and before... Yeah, I want a Fezandipiti here. I need an Iron Valiant. I'm not even sure if I have another Iron Valiant in my deck. Okay, let's try to search for Iron Valiant. I don't have an Iron Valiant in my deck. I need to drag this guy out too. No, I can't bits! Oh, I misplayed so hard, guys. Oh, I should have searched my deck. I can't bits. I had the Night Stretcher. I should have just Night Stretchered that. Oh my gosh. It's Ogre. I can't put bits on any of these Pokemon. Oh, how did I misplay that so bad? Yeah, it's over, dude. It's so over. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let's I guess start powering one of these guys up. Let's go ahead and do this. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I misplayed this so poorly. Penny? Do I still have a Penny? No, I discarded the Penny. No. Okay. Iono. Yeah, we have the Iono. Okay. What Iono does is it makes it so that they have no cards in their hand. So it's going to be very hard for them to Crispin. That being said, though, they can still Pikachu. Oh, gosh. Dude, what am I doing? Okay. There's still hope because with this Iron Crown, if I power it up, I could knock out both the Joltik and the Clefairy. We're gonna peak acceleration. I don't even know if I have any psychic energies in my hand, in my deck. Oh, I probably Night Stretcher the psychic energy so I can peak acceleration next turn. Oh, I'm a freaking dingus guy. Oh, I could have done that too. Holy! Again, if they have Crispin in this game, I mean, I can't do anything about the Crispin. Okay, that doesn't do anything. Oh, the BM, they BM me with the garbage. Do they have the 2 energies? They need a grass and they need a lightning energy. I don't know if they have. Oh, they have both. It's game. Oh, that's so tragic, guys. It's so tragic how I played that. And then they drew the Crispin with the the Iono too. So kind of unlucky. But yeah, that was a rough game. Even though I went second, they were able to like boss order, Prime Catcher manipulate my stuff, and they were able to get game because of that. Again, pretty unfortunate on my part. I didn't misplay a few moments, but at the end of the day, I think is mainly I don't think I could have won that. I had 6 prizes, so like I really had to like hope that my opponent got unlucky with their draws. But I'm gonna end that one there. I think we got 3 good games there. That last game was a little bit unlucky for me, but again, all good, right? You live and you learn. And so yeah, I think this deck again is a pretty good deck in my opinion, all things considered. I do think that you can remove the energy switch. I mean, there's a few cards that you don't really need. Like, I think 4 switches is too much. You're gonna remove a switch. You can remove the energy switch. I don't think I used that in any of those games. You can remove the Night Stretcher. So those are 3 cards that you could remove. And then after that, you can, maybe add more boss orders. You can add more energies. You can add more Ionos. You can add other Pokemon, perhaps. I don't think you want to add any more. If anything, you want to remove some Pokemon here. So yeah, like it's there's a few things that can be changed around, but at the end of the day, I think it's pretty good. I'll give this deck like a 7.5 out of 10. That's a pretty high rating for me, but again, I think it's pretty good. It has some pretty good matches. As you saw, those first 2 games, like my opponent couldn't get into it, and then that last game, I essentially couldn't get into it. But yeah, about ends it there. So thank you so much for watching, you beautiful the way you are, and I'll catch you in the next Pokemon TCG video.